It's a very important time for the maritime industry that we're all facing with this decarbonization journey that we're on that, started several years ago, many years ago actually. And now it's picking up a lot of steam, especially as you have to meet these upcoming regulations in 2030, 2040, 2050, as well as now with the EU, the trading schemes, the fuel EU, you get a lot of regional requirements that are coming into play. So the journey that we're on it's actually a very complicated one in the sense that I think understand the technology part is something that we can all work on, and I know Johnny will probably talk about this a little bit also. But it's what is the fuels we want to use? What is the pathways? Where are we going to get all the various requirements? We're talking now about LNG. LNG is a very prominent fuel, as we know. We see some operators and owners that are making that their preferred fuel. But then what's coming after that? You hear about methanol. Methanol is that next one, but again, you have supply chain, not issues, but the industry's still developing. And then later down the line, you have ammonia, which is really in its infancy, and that's very much dependent on the engines that we're having. But underpinned in all this right now is the regulatory environment, because the regulatory environment is still being promulgated. It's what are the regulations, what are the absolute requirements that need to be met. So it's very difficult right now from a class viewpoint. From a class, we're not commercial. We have no real interest in the commercial viability. We're not too concerned about the charters, even though we are. But we're really watching over that regulatory environment because that's safety. And for us, it's about the safe transiting of the vessels and the fuels. ABS, like a lot of other class societies, we're very mission-based, which draws on the one element is the protection of the environment, and then the people who sail on the ships. So we are in this very, very strong path forward to understand where we need to go, and it's very much dependent, like I said, on the regulations. From an ABS viewpoint, we are working very strongly with a lot of industry partners, a lot of the shipyards here in China with all the shipyard groups, the large and the small ones, to look at the new designs based upon these emission targets. How do you make shipping more efficient? Is it the fuel? Is it, are you putting appendages on ships? How do you make things much safer? And there's many things that need to be done along that way as well. And it's not just the shipyards, it's the ship owners understanding their trading patterns. We have port representative from Port of Rotterdam, and you talk about the green corridors. So there's a lot of it's a lot of stuff that's going on right now, and it's hard to say this is the one journey we all have to go on. I think depending on who you are and where you're operating, you may have a different journey. But at the end, it's that 2050 target of as close to net zero as possible. From a class viewpoint, we have to make sure that the rules and regulations are there to support it. We're there to make sure that the technology is able to meet those requirements. And then the other part is we keep forgetting in this journey are look at it from the shipping side, are the seafarers on board the vessel, is getting them ready for all this fuel transition. They're very good at traditional fuels and how the vessels work, but now you have a lot of oil carriers, bulk carriers, container ships that are dealing with LNG. Now it's methanol, and then we have to get them trained for ammonia eventually. And that's a whole different part of the industry that nobody talks about is getting the crew ready for the vessels. This journey isn't just one thing. There's many different avenues of the journey itself. And, we as class need to make sure that we're safe when we do it. Because you can have cheaper vessels, you can have cheaper fuels, you can have cheaper infrastructure to meet commercial needs, but at the end, if it's not safe, then this is all for naught. We are in this transition from traditional fuels to LNG, to methanol eventually, ammonia. Then we're talking earlier about hydrogen, and then now you hear more about nuclear coming up. But that might not be for decades away, but along this way, we have to make sure that it's safe that the industry is ready to handle this, where we're not going to have major accidents affecting this for being nothing. That's it.